Hi guys, it's Otaku Kunso, and today I'm here to talk about the third installment of Coach Kame, which I'm really excited for. Take a look. And just like DVD 2, it took about 2 weeks to come, which I was really excited when I got it because I took it out and I watched it right away, and you know how I roll when it comes to Ryotsu right now. So yeah, that pretty much goes without saying. This one, I don't know what to theme it as, because just like the first DVD kind of featured Ryotsu in depth as a character, then the second DVD kind of showed you like the main character cast other than Ryotsu, and then this DVD I'm gonna say kind of like showcases like the side characters, which believe me, they're totally dynamic, they're totally over the top, and you will not forget these characters once you see them. And then the last episode on there is kind of like a gag episode, but you know, hey, everything is all good. So yeah, they got 4 episodes on here, episodes 72, 73, 90, and 100, which yeah, I'm just going to kick everything off by talking about episode 72 right now, which was basically a camping trip episode, which the beginning of the episode, like, immediately they introduced the character Shiratori, which I always see this character, like, every now and then, like, you know, in random episodes and stuff like that, watching around the internet and stuff. And he's basically, like, this obnoxious, loud mouth talking, like, throwing money up in the air. He's got like a lot of money and stuff like that, and he's like a big show off and everything, and he looks down at Ryotsu and like calls him a poor man and stuff and all this other type of stuff. Like, it's really, you know, just kind of crazy. And he comes and he's got like his RV that he modded from his Porsche or something. So then he takes Reiko with him to go on a camping trip. So then Ryotsu decides, okay, yeah, we're going to go on a camping trip too, and we're going to have a better camping trip. Because, you know, Ryotsu, like, never backs down from a challenge, so that's pretty much that. He takes Nakagawa, Terai, and Bucho with him, and they go on a camping trip after Nakagawa mods out his car, which is a Ferrari or something, and they're just, like, both speeding down the highway, like, speeding down almost like it's a race. It was so crazy, and, like, Nakagawa's like, no, that's dangerous, you know, and, like, Ryotsu's just, like, you know, he's just like with it. He's just going overboard, like over the top, like just like right off the bat in the beginning of the episode. And it's just like completely hilarious. And they get to the camping spot, and there's like all these convenience stores and the video rental places and like restaurants and all this other type of stuff. And they're like, no, we're going to go old school. So then they go old school, and basically, you know, they get to like a forest type scene, whatever, somewhere. So then basically the rest of the episode is kind of like Ryotsu and Shiratori like kind of like constantly one-upping each other. Because like I said, Ryotsu never backs down from a challenge, and he like goes all in it and, you know, goes overboard and like all this other type of stuff. And then Shiratori is, like I said, he's a show-off. He likes to be number one. He likes to be in the limelight, like all this other type of stuff. And it's just really hilarious how the rest of this episode plays out. You will definitely not be disappointed. Not at all. Not in the least bit. Not in the least bit. And like I said, Shiratori, although he's kind of annoying with his show-offy personality, he still kind of makes for more humor, like in the series, especially like when him and Ryotsu are kind of going at it and like all that kind of crazy stuff. So, you know, funny stuff. Can't argue with that. So, the second episode, episode 73, now, I always forget this dude's name, even though his name is actually in the title, and I still forgot the dude's name, but I'm just going to call him a professor, because that's technically what he is. He comes in, we find out that he used to be Nakagawa's old professor, like when he was in school in England, so, you know, he's like an Englishman. And, you know, obviously, because he's like a foreigner, they made him talk like stereotypically like a foreigner. Like his Japanese is like a bit weird. Like he spoke it, but it just sounded a little weird. which I was surprised that they didn't do that with Nakagawa and Reiko, but that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, him and Ryotsu kind of got off to a bad start because he's, like, riding through town, like, in the car and stuff like that, just like a freaking crazy person. So then Ryotsu's like, like, stop, because, like, Ryotsu's on duty at that point, and, he stops, but he still hits Ryotsu with the car, and Ryotsu goes flying, and then he comes back, and he's, like, banging on the window, and then this dude's like, oh my gosh, it's a gorilla. So he called Ryotsu a gorilla, and like I said, bad start right off that point. And he even proceeds to correct Ryotsu in some of his speech, like as far as different things that he knew about, because like he's like one of these obnoxious, like know-it-all type, I guess, because he's a professor. But I guess, because he's like, I don't know, like high society, whatever. Like, he was talking about his car, and he said it was a Jaguar. And Ryotsu called it Jagger, because I guess that's how they call it in Japanese. So then he's literally like, no, it's a Jaguar. So then he like spells out the word. And I was like, no, that's how you get on Ryotsu's bad side. Don't be doing that. So then, yeah, like they basically kind of got into like little arguments, like kind of here and there and stuff like that, because he's like, I guess, really prideful about being an Englishman. He's like talking about England and all this stuff, like repping England like mad much and stuff. Then you got Ryotsu, who's a proud Japanese, and he's like pumping up Japan and like all this other type of stuff. And they're just like getting into it and stuff, and so then by the middle of the episode, he challenges Ryotsu to a duel. He like takes the glove out of the pocket, throws it at Ryotsu's face, and Nakagawa's like, because like he's challenging to a duel, and like I said, Ryotsu never backs down on a challenge, so like he's all up in it and stuff. And they're like, yeah, whoever climbs the top of Tokyo Tower wins, blah blah blah. And this dude is so offbeat, just unorthodox to the point where he gets like halfway up there after cheating, after taking the elevator, even though Ryotsu's climbing up there like a darn spider monkey, and then he's like, oh, it's tea time. So he's just like sucking back on his tea and stuff like that. And it's just like really hilarious. So then like later on they say, okay, we have a presentation and the professor is going to be featured because like I said, he's also an inventor and he's come up in many episodes where he invents something and then Ryotsu uses it, and like I said, Ryotsu goes overboard, then it ends up like turning into a problem, and so on and so forth. So his inventions always fail. And that always ends up being like a spectacle. So you can only imagine how the rest of the episode played out with the fact that he had like a remote control car and he like incorporated the airbags and like all this other type of stuff. It was just really, really hilarious. Like so funny. So then the third episode on a DVD, episode 90. Now, this was kind of an interesting episode, and I didn't really understand it that much, so I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability. So, yeah, basically, Ryotsu, he had to, like, kind of work with the quote-unquote super police force, and it's basically, like, these really, really eccentric police officers, which one of them is named Kaipon, and he's like an exhibitionist, and you have the other one who's named Dolphin, and he's like a marine, and he like, can like train all the dolphins and stuff like that, and he's got like this whole eccentric getup, and then you have like these other dudes who are like Sailor Scouts or something. Like it's literally like, oh my gosh, is this for real kind of thing? But it's really, really funny, and it's really humorous, and, once you get past the initial shock, I guess, of seeing them for the first time, like, then it really ends up being funny. So basically, Ryotsu had to take this dove and kind of train it, I guess, and have it with him, and he had, like, a nest, like, on the top of his head or whatever, and, he didn't want nothing to have to do with it, but once he realized that the bird would gather money for him, then he changed his tune. So then he had this bird going all over town, gathering money for him, and, like typical Ryotsu fashion, he goes and spends money on, like, stupid crap. So then he comes up with the idea of, like, okay, now I'm gonna have the bird spy on everybody. So then he had the bird and he was spying on his coworkers, which are like talking about him and stuff. And, they're like, oh, like he's probably not even doing any work and blah, 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 and slacking off and all this other type of stuff, because Ryotsu is kind of known for that. So yeah, he had the bird spy on Bucho, and Bucho picked up a coin and then his pants ripped. Then he was putting like, stuff on his head to like help grow his hair or something like that. And then that kind of, was awkward. Then he was in a store and he was looking at a magazine with not so decent material. Oh. So then Ryotsu like calls him like late at night and he's like, oh, I saw what you did. And he's just like, Bucho's just like, oh my gosh, and stuff. And it was just really, really hilarious. And it was funny too, because like the more these birds hung with Ryotsu, like the more they started to kind of pick up like some of his habits. Like I guess they realized that the money was important. So like towards the end of the episode, you see where the birds actually start gambling and betting at the derby and playing pachinko. And, like, just pretty much doing, like, all the crazy stuff that Ryotsu does, like, as far as, like, trying to get money quick, and they're, like, doing it, and they're having better luck at it than Ryotsu, which is just completely hilarious. Like I said, he trained them, and they did well, but everything backfired on him, and they chose the money over him, because that's how he trained them to do. Oh my gosh, it was just so hilarious. Then you got like Dolphin and them looking like at the end and they're just like, well now. But yeah, it was just like really, really hilarious. So then the last episode on here, and I was actually surprised to see that they included this episode because like after I watched it, I was pretty sure at that point that it was kind of a gag episode. And I'm not really sure like where they were going with this. Like I think the episode title was supposedly called, like, I'm the main character or something like that. And, like, they had where they were trying to do this scene and, they had to, like, go and catch a criminal somewhere. But they were, like, doing a scene from a movie and they had to keep on, like, retaking it and stuff. And it was just, like, really, really funny. And then they had this one scene in the episode, which I found most hilarious, where they actually took the police box and made it into a character. And, like, the police box was, like, eating ramen and, like, watching TV and, like, running all over the place and then, like, bumping into places, like, And then, like, at the end, they had, like, where they had like their drawing, like their draw-ups, like their sketch-ups or something. And then they like had a part where they were like talking with the director or something. And it was just really, really funny. Like I said, it was a gag episode, so there's really not much I could say about it, but it was still really, really funny, like anyway. And like I said, all the episodes on here, completely hilarious. You want to laugh? You love Coach Kame? You love Ryotsu? Then go buy this. Yeah. And if you want to roll like me, then you can get the other three. And I would hope, like I said in my ultimate license video, whatever, that they actually license the movie so I could acquire the movie, because unfortunately I can't find that on Amazon and that kind of sucks. So anyway, once again, this is me, rolling Coach Kame. Oh, yep. Till next time, because yeah. Later.